I've been an internet marketer for several years now. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of the marketers that create software products are the ones that end up having seven-figure businesses. So that's one of the reasons why you want to get into the software business. I'm not saying that you're going to have a seven-figure business or a six-figure business, but it is a very lucrative industry. Software products, they have a higher perceived value than all other forms of digital products such as ebooks, video courses, audiobooks, etc. And another advantage to getting into the software business is the barrier to entry. There's not much competition out there. If you create a software product that's, you're not going to have much competition with that compared to other forms of products. For example, if you write a how-to book on a certain topic, you're going to have lots of competition for that book. There's going to be lots of other people that's going to write something on a similar topic. Okay. Now, this course will cover the following topics. It's going to cover how to come up with ideas for your software product, how to come up with the features to include in your software product, how to find software programmers to create your software product, and how to manage your project. Coming up with ideas for your software. So before you create a software product, you need to know what it's going to bring to the table. You need to know what problems it's going to solve, because that's what software tools do, is that they solve problems or potential problems. Okay, so first let's start with ourselves. Okay, do you have a problem in your business or personal life that can be solved with a software tool? Because let's face it, if you have a problem, I'm pretty sure there's going to be other people out there with similar problems as you. Okay, so your problem is not unique to yourself. You must also know your target audience that you plan to sell your software to. So basically, it comes down to two things. Okay, consumers have a particular problem that needs to be solved, and two, they are looking for something that will make their life easier. Okay, you can also look at social media, forums, and your customer base to get an idea of what types of problems your customers or potential customers have and what they're willing to pay for. Because most of the time, people will tell you what they want, and if you give it to them, they will buy it. Okay, and oftentimes it's simply a matter of taking something that already exists and making it better, or expanding on the current software. So you're going to ask yourself, what software out there has room for improvement? Okay, and you got to remember this: it's not about just creating and selling software products. There's a lot of money to be made in selling software products. Don't get me wrong, but it's also about knowing what software products to create. So that's why it's important to know your target audience and know what it's like to be in their shoes. Alright, so let's talk about coming up with a list of features and details of what your software is going to include. Okay, you got to remember to keep it simple though, because it's not about how many fancy features and buttons that your software has. It's about how the software can benefit the user. Okay, because sometimes it's the most simple software that can become a best selling product. Okay, but before you can approach a software developer, you must have a list of features and details about the software product that you plan to create. Okay, so to get ideas, you can look at other software products in a similar industry, and also what you can do is go to a website called hotscripts.com, and this site includes programs and scripts in every popular programming language. So this is a great way for you to get familiar with the different types of software out there, and you can also read the reviews for the various software products on that site. And basically, the more knowledge that you have, the better the software you can have developed. When you're working with your programmer, you have to be very clear on what you want and be specific with the details. So you have to make sure you've done your research already before you hire someone to start working on your project. Okay, and you should also find out how long after they finish creating your software will they be able to fix any bugs. So in my opinion, it should be at least 6 months after they've completed the software, where they could still fix anything that's wrong with your software. Another thing you want to do when you're creating a software product is not to just outsource everything to the programmer and then just be hands off. I mean, you really have to get involved and get your hands dirty if you really want this to be a successful software product. Okay, and instead of just telling them to just create your software product, you should break it down into smaller tasks so that it's easier to work on, and it'll be better for you to basically monitor the progress of your software product. Okay, so for example, you can have weekly or bi-weekly tasks or goals for them to complete to make it easier for you to manage this project. Okay, and you could also encourage your programmers or coders by giving them bonuses for doing well on some of the tasks that you give them. Okay, and you also want to let your programmers know ahead of time what your budget is so they know what to expect. And so with that being said, you shouldn't pay by the hour because it's hard to track the actual hours that they work, and that only encourages people to take their time on your project. Now let's talk about finding software programmers for your project. Now there are various sites that you can go to find programmers where they will bid on your projects, and you can select the programmers based on the best price. But remember, you have to also make sure to select programmers based on their skills and how well you feel comfortable working with them. Okay, so I've listed a few sites, the most popular sites where you can find programmers. There's rentacoder.com, elance.com, scriptlance.com, and guru.com. And you can also go to coding forums or other types of forums where programmers hang out to find people that are passionate about creating software products. Okay, so now when you visit these sites where programmers can bid on your projects, you have to know how to present your project. So make sure to first review how other people are listing your projects and how they are describing them on these sites. Okay, and you have to also be very careful. You don't want to give out too much information about your project because you don't want people stealing your ideas. So when you first post a project, the information that you should reveal at first is what is needed for the programmer to know if your software product is something that they are qualified to work on.